They can't. They can't hear. Let's try.
Oops. All right, sorry about that. The audio just went out. I'm here with Katon W to Pena from Hirax. We're playing the song, and I
Hello.
yeah. All right. So we just went offline temporarily for a second. Sorry about that. And
Okay.
yes. So tell us about like what's going on in Hirax. Like, what's your new tour events, and do you have a new album going out in works right now?
Yeah. Right now we're actually packing our bags here at our headquarters, getting all the merchandise and stuff ready. We're leaving on Sunday for South America. We're starting the first leg. We're going to start off in Peru. We have three shows there. The first show is Hyrax with Sodom, so that should be insane. That's in Lima, Peru on April 11th. And just keeping busy. We're also writing the new album while we're doing all this other stuff, so it's kind of like multitasking. But everything's good. The band's real strong right now. The new material's coming along excellent. So we're really looking forward to going in the studio. And then we actually go in the recording studio hopefully right around June.
All right. One of my questions that I got from just a person who wanted to put in their input. How important is technique to you guys? Like, defining your own style for your music.
It's very important. I mean, I think every band has to come up with their own stamp on their music. It's like that's what kind of defines each band from each other. So for Hyrax, we just basically try to be ourselves and basically have all of our own personalities into our music. And I think if you listen to us and you listen to other thrash bands, you can definitely hear the difference between us. So basically, whenever we write songs, we're just trying to create our own type of style. Obviously, there's, the name thrash metal that's very synonymous with what we do. But I think Hyrax has our own sound.
All right. Now, you guys are touring with Sodom. Have you ever toured with Sodom before, or have you like knew these guys beforehand? Have you ever worked with them on tours?
Yeah, actually, I've known Tom Angel Ripper since the early 80s, like probably right around 83, 84. So I go back quite a ways with those guys. It's not really a full, scale tour. We're basically doing one date with them in Peru, which is in the capital, Lima. But we have played with them in the past. We did a show with them in Germany back in 2003. So we have quite a history with the band. And it's actually an awesome relationship. It's not like there's any animosity. We get along really well with them. And we're actually looking forward to seeing them over in Peru so we can sit down and have a couple of beers.
Awesome. How much stronger do you think the South American metal scene is as opposed to America? I heard it's a lot I heard it's a lot more strong down there.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, the thing that everybody doesn't realize, like the U.S. is probably, I hate to say this, but it's probably the weakest market for like real true metal. I love the U.S. I mean, it's a great country, but the thing is we need to rebuild the movement here. I mean, there's a lot of fans that love real metal all over the U.S., but it's just, I mean, just it's the basic truth is that it is weaker than, say, Europe or Japan or Southeast Asia. I mean, thousands of kids show up to those shows. In the U.S., it's just that you have the major industry kind of has turned its back on heavy metal. I
Yeah.
mean, it's making a comeback, but it should be a lot stronger, especially when you consider that there are a lot of fans. I mean, from the East Coast to the West Coast. I mean, there's so many heavy metal fans, out in like New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Boston. There's tons of fans out there, but there's not a lot of radio stations. I mean, like what we're doing right now, there's, underground stations, but there's no major radio stations playing heavy metal.
That's
And
true.
what they do consider metal is a bunch of shit. So it's kind of sad, but it's the saddest thing for me is that I know that there's a lot of fans in the U.S., but it's basically we have to rebuild it. Like, guys like you and some of the guys that you even interviewed earlier, it's like all of us can make a difference if we all somehow come together. Like in the early 80s, the difference is that guys like you and me had other guys in other cities like Florida and in Texas and in San Francisco, and even places like Denver, there were bands like Jag Panzer, so all of us networked with each other, like, Nasty Savage and Death in Florida. We were all friends with each other. And in San Francisco, Hirax was good friends with bands like Death Angel and Possessed and Exodus, and to this day, still those same bands and bands like Testament. But we need to basically, reconfigure everything, get everybody to realize that we need to make the U.S. heavy metal capital all over again.
I agree.
Because there's a shitload of fans. I mean, even with what we're doing right now, there are people starting to listen in because you can go on the internet and post it on your Facebook account, and they can start listening in. And that's kind of one of the things I wanted to suggest to you the next time we do this, especially when you have these other guys involved like Jeff Rappaport, and the other guy's name was Chris, I believe?
Keith Carney.
Keith Carney, yeah, who I've actually been in contact with. So you have all these guys that truly believe in heavy metal and all forms of metal, and we just need to basically bond together and start figuring out a way to promote it and get the word out there that this music is still alive, because there's a lot of people that on a Friday night, like right now, are sitting in their houses listening to heavy metal. And if they knew that they could tune into your radio show and hear metal, they would. So it's just a matter of organizing and, building the army, so to say, so to speak.
I agree. Now, I remember you answered this question kind of before, but I think this interview was at a different time period. It was a question about, like, the strength of the heavy metal scene, and this is branching off of what you were just saying. You said that, like, nu metal was the glam metal, is, like, pretty much the glam metal of then, but now nu metal is starting to fade away, but as you can see, there's other bands, like Asking Alexandria and Bullet for My Valentine that, not many people would consider metal except for the music industry. Like, how do you feel like, do you think that they're as threatening, or you think that they're just going to be, a trend or even more of a problem?
I think those bands are funny. I mean, the thing is I don't listen to that kind of metal. I don't even consider it metal. That's why I don't listen to it. But, I do respect the fact that everybody should be able to listen to whatever they want to listen to. But if you want to talk about real metal, basically we just have to, prove to the world that this music, it shows you when you look at bands like Iron Maiden. I mean, look at what they've been able to do as long as they've been going. And, there are a lot of other bands that have that same potential. I mean, Iron Maiden is definitely one of the true gods. But there are a lot of other bands out there. Maybe they might not reach that pinnacle in their career, but they still could, sell a lot of records and fill a lot of venues with heavy metal fans coming out to the concerts. So it's basically kind of changing the music industry's mindset. They look at these other bands. It's all about marketing and packaging and all that crap, when it really should be about the music. That's the saddest thing about a lot of these record labels and a lot of even these so-called magazines. I don't even want to mention them because it'd be like giving them free publicity. But there are magazines out there that don't realize that the real bands need that publicity more than these bands that have mass money behind them. And they're not even as good as half the underground metal bands that are out there. There are so many great bands making great records that are like underground gods with so much more potential, but they don't even have $100 to back them, And these other bands, we're talking like some of the bands you just mentioned, which I can't even remember their names because, like I said, I don't listen to those bands, but they have so much money behind them. It's easy to make that shit work when there's hundreds of thousands of dollars behind a lot of those bands. That's why you see them on the covers of these magazines like I don't know. You know, like these Golden God Awards and shit like that. It's like, you know, these bands that they're praising all the time. There's 100 more great underground bands that will never even get that publicity. I mean, there's bands in Japan, like there's a band called Sabbath from Japan.
Oh yeah, there's a
Great band, you know, great band who deserve so much more notoriety. And people like these people from the Golden Gods Awards don't even know who the fuck they are, you know. And like me and you were talking the other night, there's bands like Aria from Russia, you know, great band that people, unless you're really into underground metal, you would never have a clue about them because these magazines and stuff never do write-ups on these kinds of bands.
That's true. Now, I understand that you used to be acquainted with James Hetfield.
Yeah. Before even they were called Metallica, they used to live in this city called Norwalk, which is not too far from where I live now. And all of us used to hang out. We used to all go shopping for records at this record store called Middle Earth Records. And we used to basically almost like fight over records. You know, we'd go there to buy like Angel Witch and Diamond Head albums and Raven records and Accept albums and shit. And it was like, you know, me, James Hetfield, Kerry King, Gene Hoglan from Dark Angel, which now he's been in a bunch of other bands since then. But we'd all go to the same record store to buy our records. And basically it was like we were young kids, so we'd all try to get there before the other guy to buy these import records of bands that we loved, you know, because it was the beginning of all that shit. So we'd be getting like the first Merciful Fate EP or, you know, the Venom singles that were coming out back then. And, you know, so yeah, me and James go quite a ways back, and we used to hang out at this house in Norwalk, which is where Metallica used to practice. And I just remember them playing all the early demos for me, even before they even did the first record. They had demos with this guy named Lloyd Grant playing, you know, lead guitar on the demos and stuff. So yeah, we go back quite a ways, but it's been quite a few years since we've talked. But you know, quite a lot has changed. He's changed. I've changed. You know, and I guess that does happen in life. But I do miss the old James Hetfield because he was a pretty awesome dude.
Apparently, one of my friends is asking, have you ever met Dave Mustaine?
Many a times, man. Used to smoke pot at his house in Huntington Beach.
All right. I'm going to take a quick song break, and actually this is half of a question, too. The song is called, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it or not. It's from a band called Spaz, and the song is called Katon W to Pena without the W. Is like grilled cheese sandwiches without the cheese, part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, they're a power violence band from the Bay Area, San Francisco. Yeah, Spaz, and they're a pretty cool band for what they do. They're like the gods of power violence.
All right, so we're gonna take a quick break, and then we're just gonna go right back to the interview.
I'll be right here drinking my Newcastle.
All right, awesome.